Thank you for asking me. It's a serious topic. On the 1st of July, 1766, in the marketplace of Abbeville in France, a 21-year-old man, François-Jean de la Barre, had his hand cut off and his tongue torn out before being beheaded and then burnt. His crime was blasphemy, singing songs mocking religion. His torture and death caused international outrage, and it was taken up by Europe's leading philosopher Voltaire, whose most famous saying was, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." Europe was entering the age of Enlightenment, which followed 2 centuries of religious conflict in which untold numbers of women, men, and even children had been tortured, burnt at the stake, killed in horrific ways for what they thought or said. Enlightenment was an attempt to change this and create a culture based not on superstition, but on reason. And reason needed freedom of thought, experiment, and argument, because without freedom, there could be no rationality, only conformity. Without freedom of thought and speech, there could be no progress, no truth, no agreement, only silence, censorship, and lies. So the struggle for freedom of thought and speech against persecution, censorship, and intimidation was the fundamental struggle of the Enlightenment, the foundation of our modern civilization. There are aspects of Enlightenment thought that can be criticized, but not, or so I think most people believed, its struggle for intellectual freedom. It was a struggle lasting centuries. François-Jean de la Barre was, of course, very far from being the last person to suffer torture and death for his words. Millions more suffered across the world and still do. Nevertheless, no one claiming to be liberal or progressive denied that the freedoms of the Enlightenment were essential to human fulfillment. The American Constitution, a great Enlightenment text, asserts freedom of speech and of the press. The French Declaration of the Rights of Man stated that no one can be harassed for their opinions, and that free expression of ideas are the most precious rights of humanity. After the overthrow of fascism, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 stated that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. In totalitarian countries, the struggle was never won, but in democracies, there was huge progress. Trying to stifle freedom seemed not only wrong, but outdated and ridiculous. When in Britain in 1960, Penguin Books were prosecuted for obscenity for publishing Lawrence's novel Lady Chatterley's Lover, and the prosecuting counsel asked the jury whether it was a book you would wish your wife or your servants to read, everyone laughed. We don't laugh now. We were wrong to think that the struggle for freedom of thought had been won. The very places where it should be safest, the universities and the media of liberal democracies, have invented new forms of blasphemy, new witch hunts, new persecutions. People who in the past defended freedom, teachers and students, are now attacking it. Their victims are no longer literally tortured and killed, like François-Jean de la Barre, but they are nevertheless persecuted. Their right hands may not be cut off, but their livelihoods and sometimes even their lives are threatened. Their tongues are metaphorically torn out. Censorship is winning. So is the Enlightenment over after 3 centuries? Yes, I'm afraid it is, unless enough people demand the freedom to think, speak, and write. Especially when we disapprove of what is said, we must, like Voltaire, defend the right to say it. Thank you very much.